If the terrain is open, it's less. If the terrain is closed, it's more. Because if you don't do that, you give the ability of the enemy to move around freely.
But there is the same kind of terrain in the southwest. There is the same kind of terrain in the Midwest.
Yes, depending on your time zone and location. Why are there so many roadblocks in the southeast? Yes, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa Aptago, will be granting answers to that question. And I want you guys to listen to this interview with General Christopher Musa yesterday. After listening to the interview, because you want to drop whatever opinion in our comment section, and because HM from to start the video so that others will also air their own opinion to the comment section. So don't like it, settle down and watch this video from beginning to the end. Do not skip any part of it. It is a very interesting conversation between the Chief of Defense Staff and this media house. So watch out the video, guys. I will be right back.
Why are there so many roadblocks in the southeast?
You know, the terrain. We operate based on the terrain. If the terrain is open, it's less. If the terrain is closed, it's more. Because if you don't do that, you give the ability of the enemy to move around freely.
But there is the same kind of terrain in the southwest. There is the same kind of terrain in the Midwest.
Southwest, what is the threat level? The threat level isn't that much. So that's the issue. You see, the thing is that if we make mistakes, people get killed. And people feel we're not doing our job. So we have to take whatever it is for that we need to do to ensure that we secure the individual. Sometimes it could be difficult, sometimes it could be painful, and it seems as if we're being very hard, but it just depends. I mean, you can see that even at that, we're now beginning to reduce, seeing that, look, things are getting better. We don't want to just like that come and impede on people, no. For us, we don't like it. But sometimes we're forced to do it because that's the only measure we need to do at that time. And once it gets better, we pull out. If I tell you the number of weapons, drugs, illegal trafficking in human beings that have been stopped because we're checking them. You know, sometimes when you have situations, you adjust to those situations. And when it gets better, now it is getting better, and we're beginning to bring down most of these issues. We're hopeful that by next year, for us, next year is a defining year. We want to make sure that we're able to achieve so much next year. That we're working towards.
Right. So what are you aiming to achieve next year then?
Peace, more peace for Nigeria. Now it is on, at least most Abuja-Kaduna road used to be very, very tense. Now you move around very well. You go there at night, it's unbelievable when you see people moving around. So we want to make sure that there's that peace. Chafe Road used to be very bad. Since we've deployed, things have improved. And all over the country. So we're doing so much to ensure that Nigeria is peaceful. But all we need is for Nigerians to understand that we can't do it alone. And like I said, what we are doing is the kinetic effort. And kinetic can only give you 30% and below. 70% has to do with good governance. Justice, equity, and fairness. These are the things that will mitigate and reduce this to the barest minimum. We have freed a lot of areas. Once people don't feel they don't have water, electricity, no roads, it's difficult. A hungry man is an angry man. So whatever it is we're doing, as long as they can't eat, they can't go to school, it's difficult. So that's why I say that it's important that we must, as a society, come together to make sure that these things are provided, and it makes it a lot easier.
That's a very important point you've made there, and I think a lot of people would be very happy to hear you say that, because you're saying what many people believe is the truth in this country, which has nothing to do with politics, and all the rest of it.
Yes.
And but you never really get the chance to say those things, do you, to the powers that...
No, well, as the Chief of Defense Staff, I'm in between the military and the civil. So when I have the opportunities, I always try to bring this, that for us to succeed, it's important that these other aspects come into play, or else 30% cannot solve the problem. We need the 70% to come in. If 40% in that 70 comes in, we're in 70%, which is good. So that's why it's important for us to know. So dividends of democracy is critical.
Absolutely. And I can see that you are clearly someone who is a people person. You seem like a very likable person. Talking to you, you don't have that kind of ramrod, stern military look. You know what I mean? You seem like an approachable person.
We are people-centric.
So yeah, well, that's the way it ought to be. And if you are people-centric, the question a lot of people from the southeast of Nigeria will ask you is, why are there so many roadblocks in the southeast?
You know, the terrain. We operate based on the terrain. If the terrain is open, it's less. If the terrain is close, it's more. Because if you don't do that, you give the ability of the enemy to move around freely.
But there is the same kind of terrain in the southwest. There is the same kind of terrain in the Midwest.
Southwest, what is the threat level? The threat level isn't that much. So that's the issue. You see, the thing is that if we make mistakes, people get killed. And people feel we're not doing our job. So we have to take whatever it is that we need to do to ensure that we secure the individual. Sometimes it could be difficult, sometimes it could be painful, and it seems as if we're being very hard, but it just depends. I mean, you can see that even at that, we're now beginning to reduce, seeing that, look, things are getting better. We don't want to just like that come and impede on people, no. For us, we don't like it. But sometimes we're forced to do it because that's the only measure we need to do at that time. And once it gets better, we pull out.
On that note, I think we've had a very good chat.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you very much indeed for coming in and for taking the time to talk to us and sitting there and listening to us sort of ask you all these questions. General Christopher Musa is the most senior military officer in Nigeria. He's the highest ranking military advisor to the president, and he is Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Christian.
Moneta get people that are lobbying for Biafra, and it is a plus. The way Moneta is going international, and it seems he's making this agitation a serious international issue by employing international lobbyists to make sure that Biafra is recognized at the world stage. Let's get a reaction.
Now, thank you for that wonderful question, the anchor of this great platform. First and foremost, I want to say, Moneta has come out to say, or has outlined countless times that he said that the Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun for a second time. Now when he said that, Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun, it means that nobody needs to die for them to exit Nigeria. Now, Ojogun fought Biafra in a different dimension. Now, nnamdikanu did it via his own dimension. So everybody is taking it globally. And now, we've seen world body recognize Biafra. We've seen the UN and then some other global body have come out to endorse the Biafra struggle. So kudos to him, it is a plus. Some persons have come out to say that Moneta should be discredited, the likes of Ohanes and that of the southeastern governors. But my question is that you said Moneta should not be taken serious. Then who should be taken serious? The government who is not willing to protect our people? Is it the people who have refused to speak up when the Igbo man has been marginalized in the country? Is it the same governors who have become a tools in the hands of their Fulani master? So for you to even have a character like Moneta and nnamdikanu to have come out to say enough is enough, that we are tired of this contraption called one Nigerians. It shows that these people have this mindset that they can no longer be the slave. So for him to have even gone as far as to hire lobbyists that will speak on behalf of Biafra in the world in the UN summit, to me it's a plus, and that alone, the voice of Biafrans will be heard globally, and the voice of an Igbo man is also being heard globally. Now let me take it back the line. When Southern Sudan and South Sudan wanted parted ways, nobody killed each other. Nobody go through the route of violence. It was done amicably. So if Moneta is doing it amicably for him to convince world leaders that this thing is possible, and why the government of the day, the present government of Nigeria, are not seeing it that way. Thank you. You can also
to the government, to the Nigerian government be worried about this?
Why would they be worried? The same people have sent assassins to kill Sawonepa. Now only he has escaped. So see, one thing about it is that the government of the day, they are panicking. There's panic. You know what it is now? So a particular tribe, a major tribe, to exit your country. You know how an Igbo man is. You know the investment of an Igbo man is in the country. Now imagine in Nigeria without an Igbo man. Let's just imagine that. I mean, dominance. That means the Hausa man would now dominate virtually every government parastatals in Nigeria. So now the reason why the Igbo man is still believe that's Nigeria is because the Igbo man is still in the contraption called Nigeria. But eventually, if the Igbo man leaves, my brother, the Yoruba man will know the true meaning of Nigeria, and then we now know who owns Nigeria. Just like what Angwabula said, he said they are not scared of the Igbos parting, exiting Nigerians. That was what he said. He said they are not scared. Indirectly, that means the other tribe would not have sense of belonging in the country. And we know it. We know it. I know it too. And every man now has the spirit of dominance. You cannot dominate him. If Fulani man has the spirit of dominance, for you to dominate him, it will take ages. In terms of population, you cannot dominate them. So one thing is that Ojukwu foreseen this whole thing. That was why he championed this Biafra struggle. And now, gradually, it is now becoming a reality in this contraction called Nigeria. Now, there are some Igbo men are even tired of the system called Nigeria, just because they feel their brother is still in president. Now, my brother, I can bet you, come 2027, the Yorubas will be championing the Republic more than the Igbo man. I can bet you that. That I'm very certain of. Agitation. Yes, we will championing because it is certain when their president, when their brother is being kicked away from the presidency, already there is a plot, and which he himself cannot escape. The president himself knows that there is a plot, and then the big shots in the north are forming alliance. You know it. RFI, a powerful influence in the north, is not in the league. Sorry, is not in good terms with the president. And now nobody can take that factor. What RFI did. Honestly, I made President Tinubu emerge as the president via his own influence, and then we have also the likes of Angulai, which is the chairman of the Northern Order Forum. He said, post that election, that the Northern Order Forum supported Tinubu, but come 2027, Tinubu will not get their support. So what does that mean? Now so now if the average left person is not giving the vote, now where will they get the vote? The shots come by 2027. The same thing the Yorubas have been tagged the Igbos for. Now they will be the mastermind of it, because I can bet you by 2027 Yoruba will stop. And that's the slogan that will continue to trend, is that we are tired of the country, we want to follow the suit of the Igbo man and exit the country. And then the Igbo man now will not take them, tag them for being unserious, because now that the Igbo man is championing for the exit, we are saying the Igbo man is not serious. There are claims that the Igbo man is not serious, but I can bet you, when the system will also catch up with you, then you will know why the Igbo man has been championing to exit. Thank you for always coming.